What is going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to our second episode of our podcast, Kings of Mischief. Grant, how are you doing, man?
Oh man, doing good. A week of spring ball in an old body kind of takes its toll already. But hey, I'm doing good. I got my spring ball mustache going, shaved the rest off. And Coen actually said if this podcast gets 1,000 listeners, he'll do it too. So he'll shave the rest off.
Dude, I've been asked to do that before, but I haven't. I've never shaved my goatee, so I haven't done that.
He didn't actually say that, but I'm throwing it out there for him.
Yeah, he didn't say that, bro. It's hilarious that you were just saying like old body. We've only practiced 3 days so far, and it feels like my best friend just asked Grant. By the way, he was like, "Is it ever like you should get used to it, right?" But you really don't get used to it. Like,
Never gets easier.
Yeah,
it never gets easier because there's a big difference between being in shape and being in football shape.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You can run. I could go out and run gassers for 2 hours and have no problem. But a 30-minute inside run and team period,
it's always gonna be hard.
Yeah, it takes a while to adjust, no matter how many times you do it.
Yeah, man. So like, I'm excited. We're moving into week 2. We just got off a spring break, like I said, before the last podcast. But today was just a wild day. It was insane. Like my just let me preface with, if you're planning a trip and you do not have your passport, do not rush it, because I am planning a trip for 5 weeks out from now, after spring ball, after I'm done with all my finals and classes with my girlfriend, and I do not have my passport. And I was supposed to do that back in November, but I waited and I waited and I waited, and I tried to get it expedited. They say 5 to 7 weeks, and I just couldn't do that. So I've been going through crazy stuff. Grant, you also had a crazy passport story from a few years ago.
Yeah, dude, back in March of 2020 or February of 2020, right before everything got shut down, I needed a passport in 5 days because the year before I went on spring break with my girlfriend and a couple friends from high school, and I got it and then somehow lost it. My dad says he didn't lose it. I swear I gave it to him when I got back home to put in our safe at home, and it just wasn't there. So I had to get it in 5 days, and it cost a ton of money, and I had to run through a ton of hoops to get it. And yeah, never want to go through the process again.
Yeah. Let me tell you, the ton of hoops he's talking about he's downplaying it a lot, because like I said, I'm 5 weeks out, and the amount of stuff that I just had to go through for getting my passport within 5 weeks, it left me drained. I don't even, I feel like I just went through everything doing that. It's insane, man. But recapping spring ball week 1, I felt like, defense came out high energy, man. It was awesome. Just being out there with them again, playing football. And we finally put the pads on Saturday. And, I just love when we put the pads on. It's real football finally. And getting back at Scott was real nice.
Yeah, man. I think we came out with a lot of energy all week. I think it was a different type of energy from spring ball, because no one really likes spring ball. That. But everyone was kind of excited to practice for the first time since I've been here. Like, yeah, people actually want to be on the field. Mm-hmm. And it had been, when was the last time we practiced? 4 months ago. So people missed it. The last time that we went that long was COVID year without actually playing football. So we got out there, and defense, y'all playing really well as expected. You guys had a really good year last year. Offensively, we are definitely trending in the right direction. I think we're in a much better place this year than we were last year, but obviously because a lot of guys have already been in the system. But also, Tony Muskett learned that system so fast. He's a smart dude, and he's got a cannon, and I didn't know that. He's got a cannon, and he has one of the quickest releases I've ever seen. So I'm excited to see what he's got for the rest of spring ball. Excited to see more of Jay. Can't wait till tackle days to see the running backs actually get to run y'all over instead of taking pops at the end of plays like y'all have been doing. But yeah, man, offense, I'm excited for the rest of spring ball. I can't wait till we get to scrimmage for the first time.
I was so excited to see. It's funny because like you'd think like being a defensive player, I'd be excited for the defense, but I was just so excited to see the offense and what y'all would do. And like you said, like it just seemed like, I just remember last spring And last spring, how slow offense got started was like absurd. It was crazy. Like, but with a completely new quarterback that hasn't even been at UVA, and with Coach Kitchen's system, it was cool seeing that just all flow together. It was nice. All right, we're back. We're starting our snake draft a little earlier this week. Grant came up with an awesome idea. So it's the top 5 plays since we've been here, football themed only. This is an awesome little segment we have. We've seen a lot of good plays over the years, man. And,
yeah, we definitely have.
Yeah, we came back. We flipped a coin. Grant won. So Grant's going first. I think this is a huge advantage for you to go first because we're a little bit more tighter with our I think what we're going to choose.
Yeah, I'm also 2 for 2 on coin flips. So I've picked first both weeks.
Yeah.
All right. My number 1 play since we've been here is the Tech fumble recovery at home in 2019.
Yeah.
The crowd went nuts. That had to be my number 1.
Yeah, that was my number 1 as well. You took that from me.
Well,
that was a good pick. I didn't play that. I didn't play that much. I don't think I played that game at all, which sucked. But that was an awesome game. That was an electric game to be at. My number 1 play since I've been here, I'm gonna go my most memorable play will be the Florida State stop on the goal line in 2019, and then everybody was in the field after.
Yeah, that's what you want.
That was awesome, man. That was sick. I mean, I've seen a lot of things, even on like Twitter, like Barstool stuff, and like where they're ranking like the top 5 best field rushes or top 10, and I've seen that come up a lot, and that was just electric. Like I barely played that game. I played kickoff and a few other special team plays, but I mean, I remember that like it was yesterday.
All right, my number 2 is from the same game. Mm-hmm. It's Perk's 2-point conversion run, where he scrambled around for 15 seconds and somehow got in there.
Yeah,
I can't remember. That was either third or fourth quarter, but that was electric.
Yeah,
that was truly electric.
That was a big game, and I was so excited to play them in 2020 at their state at Florida State, but COVID happened. Anyways, my second favorite play since I've been here, or most memorable play, will be one of my friends when he was here, Nick Grant, his pick on the opening drive against Florida in the Orange Bowl. I mean, if you look at that play, like we were expected to lose that game. I don't even know what the line was about how much we were supposed to lose that game by, but to come out and set the tone like that and get an interception on their first drive, that was awesome. And it was so acrobatic. And
he was either number 1 or number 2 on SportsCenter top 10 plays after that. I remember watching it in the hotel after.
And Nick, I love you, bro, but Nick can't catch. Like he has horrible hands, and everyone knows that. And when he caught that, I was surprised at the catch. I was surprised at his body position, and I was surprised that we came out and did that in the Orange Bowl. So that's my number 2.
All right, my number 3 was Wicks last year at Georgia Tech. His catch and touchdown run. Really, the catch wasn't anything spectacular, but the run after was one of the most athletic things I've seen on the field. And no idea how he stayed in bounds, and he was shifty, and it was a very fun play to be a part of. And I actually called it before the play happened. I was on the sideline, and I turned and I said to Josh Rawlings, I said, "Hey, Wicks touchdown here," because I saw the play, and he did. So it was even cooler.
It was one of those plays where I wasn't even watching or paying attention, but I just heard a big like "ooh," and I just looked up and I missed it, but I saw it after and it was sick. That was sick. My number 3 pick. I don't know if a lot of people is gonna, know this. No one's really gonna know this play, but a few of the closer and older DBs now know about this play. Don't know what quarter it was. Don't know the situation, but Juan Thornhill against Georgia Tech, he ran. This is just like you gotta love football to appreciate this play. Georgia Tech was the option style. This was 2018, and he was the backside safety, and he ran down and had a TFL in the backfield. One of the craziest tackles I've ever seen in my life. Like at that moment, I knew. I was like, bro, Juan is a real deal. Like if you want to be a good safety, watch him. And I studied him when I was younger, and that play is insane. If you ever want to go watch that play, just look up the highlights of Georgia Tech versus UVA 2018, and you'll see it.
Solid. See, I'm sticking to the more offensive side, and you're sticking to the defensive side, so that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Because my number 4 is Tony Poljan's catch in the end zone at Miami in 2020 that got on You Got Mossed.
Oh, yeah.
He went up over the safety and was a full yard out of bounds and somehow came down and stuck his foot out and got it in bounds. Incredible play from my guy.
Dang, that's a good pick. I forgot all about that play. That's a great pick. That's a great pick. My number 4, this was more of a feeling it gave me, an overall feeling. So I'm gonna put y'all in the mindset of this play this feeling gave me. Miami 2021, when they missed the field goal in the last play. That Miami's kind of a weird place to play at. The huge stadium is not always filled up that much, but it was a Thursday night game, and the atmosphere on Thursday night games, like, you're gonna get back Friday morning, so you have the whole entire weekend to yourself. And having that ACC win off of them missing that kick, we played a good game, but having it come down to that and then missing that kick and going into the locker room and going crazy, I mean, I'm gonna remember that play forever. It was awesome.
Yeah,
feeling that game was sick.
All right, my last one. My number 5 is Joe Reed's kick return against Duke, because I got to actually be on the field for that one. And I think Joe Reed had 4 in college, maybe 5. But, man, actually being able to be on the field during a kick return is so electric. Because it's rare. It's so rare.
It is rare.
So to actually be on the field for it was awesome. That was so cool.
Yeah. My number 5, 2020. We were playing Virginia Tech, and I had a good game. It was my best game up until that point. But, obviously we lost that game. I have no idea how we lost that game. But the very last play of the game, I just knew, think about it. Nobody's in the stands. Virginia Tech is usually this electric atmosphere. Like, we would have been having, cans thrown at us and getting cussed out and called names after we walked off the field. But no one's in the stadium. It's freezing cold. It's just us and them, our coaching staff, their coaching staff. And it's the last play of the game. They're just taking knees. And Noah Taylor, he played at UNC now, last year. He looked back at me and was like, I can't remember what he said, but I think he said, I'm sorry for what I'm about to do. I was like, what is he about to do? And then I was like, oh my God, he's about to do something crazy to this offensive tackle. And I just went up and tried to grab him before the play started. And before the quarterback even took a knee, that's when, everything broke loose. Fight on the field, pushing and swinging stuff. I don't know if a lot of people saw that. I don't know if the TV cut off before that, but it was almost a brawl after that game. And nobody was there. Like I said, it was just us and them. It would have went to war. We would have went to war.
Dude, it was the fight no one heard about. Because the cameras cut off by that point, and no one was in the stands. No one had any idea that happened.
Yeah, we should just let it happen. It would have been awesome.
Now, I got 2 plays that didn't make my list because they hold a different place in my heart. 2020, Deshaun Perry's 85-yard pick six on the last play of the game against Abilene Christian.
Insane.
And last year, opening game, Richmond at home, Lavelle Davis scoring the first touchdown of the year on a 55-yard touchdown catch. Those plays, I'll always remember them. God rest Deshaun, Lavelle, and Devin Souls. But those 2 plays, those are my favorite plays ever.
Yeah.
Didn't make the list, but those are my favorite.
Dude, even the pictures of just one Lavelle high stepping.
Yeah.
That's ingrained in my mind forever. And then Deshaun, that arguably probably is the craziest play we've seen, regardless of situation. We were beating them, but just that play was insane.
Yeah.
And then there was a time in I think it was fall camp of 2022. I think it was fall camp of last year when Devin had a kick return in practice and slid in the end zone. We're practicing with each other. We're not. It's not serious. And he took it all the way back and like slid in the end zone. The kickoff team was pissed at each other. Like those types of shit, like that's insane. Like, yeah, I remember that forever, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that stuff's sick.
So now we're going to move on to our next recurring segment. First one of this, it's going to be the mischievous take. The mischievous take is going to be a hot take, a conspiracy, something just kind of out there, something that's just presses on us all the time. And I'm going to lead my first one. I'm going to be a little more mild for the first one.
Grant, I just want to give them some background on you. You're a conspiracy theory type guy.
I wouldn't call myself a conspiracy theorist, but I could be pretty easily convinced into a lot of things. All right.
Yeah, fair.
That's where I'll leave it. Yeah. So my first one is not like this. My first one is just something that I'm very passionate about, and I've been passionate about it, for the last 4 years. It is the fact that people, especially at UVA, this is where I noticed it, at UVA, will use words and use too many words when they're trying to explain something. And I think the reason they do it is to make them sound smarter. Mm-hmm. They will use their vocabulary. They go into the dictionary and pick out words that they want to use for the day because I've never heard them. And it's as simple as a professor asking a question and someone raising their hand to answer. It's like a 2-word response, and it turns into a 45-second response. And it pisses me off.
Yeah.
Dude, I can't explain to you how much that makes me mad, how mad that makes me.
That is absolutely hilarious because I remember when we came together, I think this was like our second year, and we both kind of had the same feeling around it. And you told me about the book that you wanted to write called The Art of Being Concise.
Yep.
And you said, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, but this is like, Grant's not even joking right now. This is like a real thing that happens. Over-explaining, over-analyzing, trying to sound smarter than you actually are. Like, the answer is the dog jumped over the fence. It's not this elaborate evaluation of, like, it's like if there was an opinionated answer, then it's a different thing. But it's more like this happens with like factual 1-word answers, and it happens often.
Sometimes it's yes or no. And then they go and then they explain after, yes, but, and they will explain for 45 seconds. It also happens in the scholarly books that we read. Sometimes it's like I'm reading Shakespeare and you're trying to explain a simple topic. And it makes me so mad. So my idea of being concise is not only not saying too much, but also making it as simple as possible for the person to understand. There is no need to be big and elaborate when you're trying to explain something.
It doesn't make you sound smarter. It doesn't. It doesn't make you sound smarter. If you're able to explain something to a 5-year-old, I think you sound smarter than trying to make it more difficult for someone to understand.
Yeah, like you're on a panel speaking to a bunch of people that already know the topic. No.
Yeah.
It makes me so mad.
I mean, I took a few philosophy classes here, and man, I don't even get me started. Like those readings, and I was a politics major, so like the readings and like they just go on and on and on and on. It's absurd. It's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy. All right, man, we're back. We just had a quick little break, and we're gonna touch on a cool segment that, I think, Grant, I think I want to make this possibly be a thing we come back and touch on a few times, but it's just like a few things that stood out to you when you first got to college, or just life in college football in general. Just anything that stood out to you, or a few things that you could tell somebody that was special about college football.
Yeah. All right. Well, the biggest change when I got here was the schedule. Because when we first got here, it was wake up, we would go over to Bryant Hall at Scott Stadium for a meeting, and we meet with like academics or something. Then you had to get back to breakfast at the dining hall, check in there, then get in a safe ride or walk or get a Lime scooter, and then go to JPJ for study hall. And then we'd have it was like an hour and a half to 2 hours of study hall.
Yeah.
You got out of there, you'd have maybe an hour, then you went to class. So then we go to class, and then as soon as class is over at 2:30,
Do something.
3:15, you're at the facility getting ready to start workouts. And workouts, you thought it was the end of the world when you had to come in and do them because they were so freaking hard. And then that finished, you'd have to run to the bus to make the bus to get to dinner. And if the bus ever stopped, people would get off and run from off the bus and run to the dining hall to check in. And then after that, we would have another meeting at Bryant Hall. And then it was bed check. And that was the same schedule every day for the first month we were here until we got to camp. And that was such a shock for me and such a culture change. And God, it was awful. I would never want to do that again.
Bro, they treated us like pawns. Like pawns that had to move around a chessboard. Like, it's no joke. Like when he said we'd wake up. I don't even know what time we'd wake up. It was pretty, like, our first meeting probably started at what, 7:30.
I think it was earlier than that. It was probably 6:30 or 7. Because we got breakfast after the first meeting.
Yeah, and it's just the traveling, like from, like you said, call a safe ride. Like if no one knows what a safe ride is, you probably don't if you don't go here. But it's kind of like an Uber, but they're so limited on grounds, and you're trying to get safe rides for about a freshman recruiting class of about like 25 people.
Yeah.
And there's not that many. And they're vans, but there's not that many. So if you get left behind, you're late.
Yeah.
And I can attain to that schedule stuff. Like, in high school, you kind of craft your own time when you want to work out, unless you are at a scheduled high school, like you could lift before and stuff. But going to class in the middle of the day and working out after and meetings on top of meetings was insane. It's crazy.
I mean, our days were planned pretty much down to the minute. I mean, we had probably an hour of free time during the day and then, an hour or two at night. But that was it. The rest was planned exactly how they wanted it to be.
Yeah. And, if there are any like younger athletes listening, I just want you to take note about that. Like you'll be scheduled down to pretty much every hour, every like minute of your day.
Yeah.
Is working towards something to do with football. Mine was just how different practice was from high school practice. And like I said, I only played a year, and so I didn't really know like the football practice, but just from what I got from my high school, we hit, we worked, we did one-on-ones and stuff, but it was kind of like a lackadaisical kind of feeling during practice. Like you didn't have to go that hard, but when you get here, especially like your first 1 to 3 years, your first 3 years here, every single play is hard. Like every single play, you're trying your absolute hardest.
Yeah.
And even now, I wouldn't say I'm like not trying, but every single play is like you're trying hard against somebody, because somebody's just as good as you, if not better. And when you're a first year, you kind of transition from, it's just obvious, like you transition from being the best on your team to not the worst, but I mean, you're at the bottom of the totem pole. So that was my biggest one, definitely.
Yeah, dude, because in high school, most people were the best on their team, right? You're playing at Virginia, you're probably the best on your team. And so you kind of coasted through practice and stuff.
Yeah.
When you get here, not only is everyone else the best on their team in high school, but now some of these guys have been in a strength program and an off-season program and are 21, 22 years old. So the first several years, it is tough. Practice, so hard. Because even if no one else is trying hard, it's still hard.
And then on top of having to try that hard, you're like trying to try hard too. You want to make an impression. You don't want to go out there and just like BS around with your new coaches and your new teammates. So I mean, it's a huge jump, and I bet it's more so like different for other people where you go. And I just want to be like really serious about how like that jump was, especially for me.
Yeah. And when you talked about you wanting to try hard, Coach Mendenhall, some days we'd watch film in our team meetings, and it wouldn't be any practice film.
No.
It would be who's running the fastest down the sideline, who's running from – because they would film the entire day. So who's running from drill to drill the hardest? It was so. Not only did you want to try hard, you had to try hard. If you weren't, you were getting caught.
Yeah, you'd get caught out in a meeting full of your entire team and coaches for not running off the field after a play is done.
Yep.
It's crazy. It builds a lot of resilience and hard working in you. But it's when you first get there, it's a huge culture shock. Just depending on where you're at. Like I said, it's huge.
For sure.
Yeah. So we're wrapping up. Good little talk today, man. And like we always do, end off with our rapid fire section.
Yes, sir.
We have 5 questions today. I think you kicked it off last time, so I'll start this time.
Yeah, go ahead.
I love it. My first one, bear versus gorilla.
A bear wins. 10 out of 10.
Yeah. Invisibility or super strength?
Invisibility.
Favorite TV series of all time?
Game of Thrones. Easy.
Favorite dog breed?
Lab.
Yeah. Beer or wine?
Beer.
Come on.
Are you kidding me?
Come on.
Before I get to mine, me and Coen have done this thing for the last year or so called Beer of the Week. Maybe we'll start sharing our Beer of the Weeks with the. We've kind of stopped doing it. Like we don't really necessarily do it during the season and during spring ball, but definitely during the summer we'll do it, and definitely during
last spring ball we did it. Yeah,
oh, we did do it last spring ball, didn't we?
Yeah, it's lit, bro. We go to this little foosball. It's called Foosball Nation, or we'll go to Kroger. Kroger has a good selection. Grant got me into this, and just go get a random one we both kind of have our eye on, rate it, and it's fun. It's fun time. Grant's
a random 6-pack. We'll split it. After you drink 3, you give your rating, and we kind of just try new drinks that we would never have tried.
Yeah, never.
If it wasn't for doing that. All right, so I'm gonna get into my rapid fire. You ready?
Yep.
Would you rather have all your food hot or all your food cold?
Hot.
Would you rather cold tub as soon as you step out of your bed in the morning, or only shower with all your clothes on?
Cold tub after getting out of bed.
Okay. Would you rather have your car break down once a week or your phone die at random times?
Phone die.
Okay. Steak or chicken?
Steak.
All right. Long car ride or short flight?
I'm taking what's the parameters around a long car ride?
It's rapid fire.
All right. Short flight. I hate flying. We hate flying.
That's why I asked. Me and Coen hate to fly. I don't care if it is the 37-minute trip up to Pitt. I hate flying.
I didn't used to hate flying. I used to actually enjoy flying. I love takeoff. I love the scenic view that you get in the air or right before you're about to get to like your peak altitude. But I was scarred after this one flight we had going to Louisville in 2019.
Yep.
I've never been the same since. I can't get it out of my mind, and I hate flying every single time now. It's not going to change. Grant also let me tell you what Grant said. Grant also said once we took off, he was like, once we get to a certain point in the air, it doesn't really matter. You're going to die anyways. And I just can't get that out of my head. I can't get it out of my
Once you hit about 100 feet, it doesn't matter.
So every time we just barely get off the ground, I'm like, it doesn't matter what happens.
Yep.
Yeah. So everyone, man, thanks for tuning in again. I think we had a good episode too. We're going to keep at it every week. We're excited to do this stuff. We're going to get on a few guests in these up and coming weeks and, kind of integrate them into our questions and thanks for everybody for listening. And, it's an awesome podcast.
Yep. Thank you all very much. See you, Coen.